Women Making Moves, where we celebrate the moves that women are making. My name is Amy Pons. I'm a Master Certified Life Coach and an energy healer. I'm joined today with Isabel Draughon. Isabel stands as a catalyst for transformation, recognized for her ability to ignite profound change within individuals and organizations alike. As a life, transformational, and spiritual coach, author, and international speaker, Isabel's influence spans continents, touching lives with her unique blend of wisdom, empathy, and actionable insight. Isabel's expertise extends beyond individual coaching. She is a sought-after consultant in organizational mental health and wellness, collaborating with forward-thinking companies to cultivate a culture of holistic well-being. Specializing in conscious leadership, Isabel's training programs empower leaders to embrace mindfulness and empathy, fostering workplaces where authenticity and resilience are the cornerstones of success. Through this integrated approach, Isabel Draughon not only reshapes narratives, but also drives lasting change, helping individuals and organizations align with their highest potential. Her work is a testament to the power of transformation, making her an invaluable partner for those ready to elevate their lives and lead with purpose. Collaborating with forward-thinking organizations committed to cultivating conscious workplaces, she empowers conscious leaders and resilient teams poised to thrive in today's dynamic world. Isabel, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Dear friend. So I love that you work with not only individuals, but also organizations.
Yeah.
As you know, I'm on the national team for Workplace Psychological Safety Act. And
Okay.
maybe you didn't know that.
I did not know that.
So being a survivor and thriver from workplace trauma, workplace abuse myself, my individual coaching has really turned into this interesting morph between spiritual awakening and someone who has been experiencing that workplace psychological abuse, and they, to a point they're like, no more. So I love reading in your bio, that's the workplace we're all striving for. The one where every individual can celebrate not only their unique brilliance, but also, and here's where I want your specific thoughts on, I feel after 20 years in corporate, I feel that the workplace by and large is still rooted in the systems created 100 years ago, rooted in white supremacy, patriarchy, colonialism, capitalism. So with all that in mind, it feels like before we can even like start, that's why I feel like a lot of ways DEI was something that was built on top of those outdated systems. And it's no wonder that it's unraveled, or maybe not unraveled, but unfolded the way it has these days. Because it was still on top of those systems that were, those systems thrive on holding power and control over someone else. So I want to hear from you about your thoughts on those systems and where those systems are in the workplaces or entities that you work with. And then also, we need a law. This is where we're coming from. We need a law that someone can ladder up to, because you and I, we do
human law.
Yeah, you and I do such soul and spiritual work, and the humanitarian problem in workplace abuse. That's what we need a law for, so that we can hold accountable the employers, but also more importantly, getting the person that's been abused out safely and with some sort of a support. Because a lot of times, again, when someone has reached that point where they got to get out, they've taken such a psychological, mental, emotional, physical, and now financial hit. We need a law so that we can help them get out safely. And then also my thing, and this is where I promise I'm going to wrap up here a second.
You're good.
My thing too is, because I'm a healer and a warrior, my healer self wants to go to that abuser and say, what brought you here? What brought you to this place and time? Everyone has learned something, I feel. And because of the workplace that was rooted in those systems, that's really the only way that they learned how to, and it was survive. It wasn't necessarily thrive. And I'm not saying every and all, I'm averaging, but anyway, your beautiful bio, that's what I feel we're all working toward, is being able to amplify. Let's earn a living in a really dignified and beautiful way, where we celebrate our unique brilliance in who we are, our soul. So tell me, you're like, wow. Welcome to
I love it.
Welcome. This is what Amy, this is about. You know me. You're not surprised by this.
No, no, I love it because you're just like me. I think people who are very spiritual are long-winded people. It's because we speak from the heart.
Yeah.
And I find myself having that problem because now we have an attention span where people don't have an attention span. So even sometimes when I do my videos and stuff, they're like, it's too long, it's too this. And I'm like, oh my goodness. We don't have the patience anymore because we're no longer exercising our rights as a human being. We're human doers. So when you're doing and performing, what we're doing is we're cutting out and removing ourselves on what it takes to be human. So we don't have time to hear something that's 2 minutes or 3 minutes anymore. Because you know what, Amy? We need to get to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And we're calling ourselves getting smarter by the day. But really, to be honest with you, we may get smarter intellectually, but in our hearts, we're getting depleted because we're only getting enough information because we don't want to listen to anybody for 2 minutes. So we get that snippet, that bite. So we take that bite and say, oh, that was so good. How is that so good? Did you decode it to see what the person was trying to tell you? No, because it would have taken them 3 minutes. It would have taken you 3 minutes to listen. So you're saying, nope, I don't have time for that. So we move to the next thing. That's number one.
That's why I love podcasts because someone has taken the moment to say, I choose to download this episode.
Yes.
And whether or
Hmm.
not they listen to the whole thing, I totally agree with you, being a
Yeah.
marketer for 20 years. But that's why I love the podcast. It's like you've chosen to do this and someone is
Hmm.
invested already in the two people
Hmm.
that are on it. So
Hmm.
beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me try to decipher some of the things that you talked about. I
The
love this.
systems. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Many days I'm straight up pissed that these systems are
Hmm.
still in place.
Hmm. So let's talk about the systems. What you said is absolutely true. And the reason why I actually like to talk about organization and leaders in organization is because of conscious leadership, right? Because I'm a firm believer that you cannot lead anybody unless you're a leader in your own life. Number one. Okay. And number two, going by what you said, that's absolutely correct. See, what has happened is we are still living under the old systems of leadership. And most people who were hired into leadership back then, it was solely based on skills. It was solely based, can you have these people give us this profit report at the end? Can you make sure that our margins look this way? Can you make sure our numbers look this way? Are you able to make sure that these people work themselves to death? It was not about really having a connection with the people. So my biggest thing is, right, you want to be a leader. This is a totally different world that we live in right now. People are looking at lifestyles. People are not looking at how much I can produce for you. So I'll give you a perfect example, right? Years ago, leadership looked like this: power. Somebody has power, everybody, oh my God, this person is so powerful, right? We admired them, we respected them because you know what they did? They just constantly delegated, told people what to do. They could care less if the employee had 2 children, if the employee had cancer, if they're depressed, anxiety. What is the bottom line? What is the bottom line? What is the bottom line? Those people, they went to school for that. They were hired for that. So the thing is now we live in a time where if you're in a space of leadership, you have to be able to inspire your people. People are no longer interested in being controlled or manipulated. So standing on top of a stage and feeling powerful as a leader means absolutely nothing anymore. What people want is when they're in a space with their leader, when they leave, what they want to feel is inspiration, not only for their own life, but for the work that they do. They want to look at the leader and say, wow, Amy inspires me. And Amy not only inspires me because she's good at what she does, Amy inspires me because of her own leadership in her personal life, because her having empathy, her being able to connect with her employee. She actually inspires me because she's authentic as a leader. I have seen her have challenges, and Amy has admitted to me that this was difficult for me, team, but I was able to tap into myself or ask for help in order to get the resolution, in order to get the results. So when your employees see a leader who's authentic, a leader who's open, who has compassion, who has empathy, who can listen to their employees, let me tell you what, you will never have to worry about the bottom line. Because when you inspire people to be their best self, it is an innate, a natural thing that will happen. Not only will they become better in their own life, they want to make sure that they do the best for you as their leader because you're making them better, not only professionally, but personally. So we're in a society now that's not interested in power. You could take power and shove it somewhere else. Now, what we're looking for is somebody who can inspire people to become better in their lives, not just sit at the desk and punch those numbers and give us the bottom line. Now, that doesn't work anymore. So my thing is, okay, you want to be a leader in this organization? Talk to me about how you're leading your own life. What is the vision for your life? What are your values? What matters to you? Because when you understand that, you could take that and filter it into your employees. I was watching something on LinkedIn today. I think it was Steve Barnett was talking about, I don't remember who he mentioned, but he said the person had a conversation with Steve Jobs before he died. And he asked him, what's the most important thing he's ever created, whether it was the iPhone or all this other stuff? You know what he responded? The team.
Yeah.
Yeah, the team of people. Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's a big reason why, and thank you for sharing your perspective on that. I will
Mm-hmm.
say that based on my lived experience and also many of the women specifically I serve right now, there's a big clash happening in the workplace right now
Mm-hmm.
because that what you speak of the power and
Mm-hmm.
control is still at the highest levels of the
Oh God, yeah.
organization, depending on,
Yeah.
and
Oh
so
God,
there's
yeah.
and then as you know, like Gen Z and Alpha are coming in giving zero fucks and they're like, figure it out. So for me as an elder millennial, I've seen both. So for
Yeah, me
instance,
too.
I came in my 20s where I was looking for more of that almost parental kind of vibe with my
Mm-hmm.
boss because everyone always reminded me I was young. They were like, well, you're just 26. Everyone would remind me of that. So because of that, I was taught to, straighten my hair, wear a suit, wear heels, and for many years. And that was welcome to me. And then
Mm-hmm.
what started to happen was I was like, wait, I love my curly hair. I love wearing comfy shoes, and that's the least of it. But what I'm getting at is that I started to remember and awaken. This is why it's interesting right now. So many women that come to me, they're experiencing an awakening of some sort. And they're
Yes.
like, wait, what felt okay? Like they didn't love being held power over in the workplace, but it
Mm-hmm.
was just
Mm-hmm.
like, especially us that were trained young by that,
Yeah.
we were
Yeah.
welcoming it. It was like all we were used to. Suddenly
Mm-hmm.
they're like, wait a second, I don't want to feel this way. I want to express myself.
Mm-hmm.
I want to breathe beautifully into my unique soul and essence.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the that's the class happening. And that's
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
we're seeing
Yeah.
so many incredible humans, women mainly,
Mm-hmm.
exit the 9 to 5.
Exit the organization, yes. And I like that.
Yeah.
I do love that you mentioned that they are exiting the 9 to 5. Here's the thing that you and I work with the same kind of niche with the women,
Right.
right?
Right.
Professional,
Right.
entrepreneur women, and just women in general, and it's the sense where a woman who wants more, who wants to be
Yeah.
more and do more. So you don't even have, for the women that are listening, don't feel as though because you're not the high achiever or the professional, you're not part of this. No, you are,
Nope.
right? It's any woman that just wants to do more and be more in life. And you're absolutely correct. Here's what I'm seeing, and the overall arch, what's happening with Awaken with Women. Women are exhausted from suppression. It's killing them. And it's killing them at record numbers, right? That suppression is causing exhaustion, it's causing burnout, it's causing autoimmune diseases. 80% of autoimmune disease is the suppression of the fact that I could be in an organization and I can't even speak my truth. I can't be myself. So women are that at home, they're that at work, and women are exiting organizations at a rapid pace because they're not being given the lifestyle granted in order not just for a woman, period, just for a human being to
Human.
survive
Yeah.
on a daily basis without feeling stripped of your humanity, without being in a state of 24/7 exhaustion. I feel like I always look at it this way. I feel like women are always fighting a battle. We're always fighting a battle to be seen, to be heard, to be understood. And most of the time we're misunderstood, you know? And just like the way you're saying, it's from a younger age because we have been conditioned that way. But I'm so happy that now we're opening our eyes and we're getting this awareness and exiting the organization. So now organizations need to, because they may think they don't need women. Oh, trust me, you need women. You need women in leadership.
Yeah.
You need women in leadership because without empathy, you're not a leader.
If I may,
Without nurturing, you're not a leader. So I'm not saying all leaders need to be women, but this notion of just letting women exit the organization is not a good thing. It's not a good thing for the workplace.
no, and I would say, like, to your point about all humans, there's so much shedding happening on an energetic
Hmm.
level from all humans
Hmm.
right now. And
Yeah.
if we step outside of man, woman, human, energetically, we have the divine feminine, divine masculine, and we've actually not been operating in either one for, I would say, the past 100 years. It's only been in the masculine, which is the order, structure, action, and it's
Hmm.
become toxic because that's the only thing that we
Hmm.
have cared about.
Hmm.
And when you say like we need women in leadership, I would say also women in leadership that are willing to bring in their divine feminine to balance out the doing, the structure, the
But
order,
here is the thing.
the creation, flow, and
Hmm.
trust. And
Hmm.
they haven't been allowed to. I meet so many women that have gotten to those levels. They had well intentions. They were like,
Hmm.
I'm gonna get in there. I'm gonna change it all. I'm gonna do it. And
Hmm.
then very quickly they were like, oh, I can't do that. Like it's
Yeah,
not
because
gonna
they
work.
don't,
Yeah.
right? They don't have any control over it. Because
No.
even for them to be able to get into leadership, they had to operate in the masculinity.
Yes. So then for them
You
to
see
flip
what I
the
mean?
switch, yeah, they
So
had
when you
to show
get
up
up
as the,
there, you're like, okay, how do I code switch? You can code switch in an
oh,
environment that's masculine,
yeah.
right? Kudos for getting up there. But it's going to take
Kudos. Yeah.
right? But the problem is we've been climbing these ladders with masculine energy, and there's nothing wrong with being masculine. Masculine is what it is, it's masculine. But as women, we are not created to operate from a masculine energy because you know what it does? It detaches us from our femininity, and there's so much power in that. Being a woman that's so surreal, that is so tender, that is more powerful than the masculine side in this sense. I'm not talking about strength. I always say this. Society measures the strength of a man by how much weight they can carry, but they measure strength of a woman by how much pain she can endure. And the more pain a woman is in, society says, oh my God, you're so strong. No, that's crap. We were not created to be in the state of pain 24/7. We were not born to survive, we were born to thrive. So, what's happening now is as women are climbing the ladder, we need to tap into our feminine energy. And the reason why it's such a challenge, and then when we become leaders, we give all of ourselves, everything that we neglect our own being.
We need both energies. For those newer to energy, if we were to call it nothing else, divine feminine is creation, divine masculine
Mhm.
is structure.
The
So
structure.
when those work together, you
Mhm.
beautifully create and release it out into the world. So you can imagine as a really amazing balanced leader in those both energies, again, men and women,
Mhm.
both, it's
Yeah.
such an amazing divine balance. It's that way that we're saying that we can do business while having not just dignity, like that's the least of it. It's an amplifying of this human soul together. And
Yeah.
I worked so hard in the corporate space to be that leader. And
Mhm.
my team was crushing it, obviously. We were getting awards. We were the go-to team. And then behind closed doors, I was being told,
Mhm.
you're too much of a mama bear. You coddle too much. You
Mhm.
are too available to your team. And I rejected that. And that was one of the biggest reasons why I was like, wow, corporate's just not a fit for me anymore. They're
Yeah.
just not.
Yeah. I mean, times have changed. We talked about Gen Z. Gen Z is not doing working 40 days, 40 hours for 40 years for you to give me a gold watch. They're not interested. Gen Z is like, how am I living today? It's not just really about making money. What I love about it is it's a lifestyle. And in order to create a lifestyle, you have to look at the human being of a person. You can't just make them do us, just go, 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 go. And that's where Gen Z is. They're in the present moment.
Yeah.
What are you doing for me now? And I love it. Let me tell you why I love it. I love it because it forces us to all be human beings.
Yeah. I mean, so many people are pissed at Gen Z. I'm like, no, this radical
No.
boundary setting generation. Here's what I have learned. When we look at older generations,
Mhm,
they were taught to say, let me work so hard so that you can care about me. Gen
mhm,
Z is like, care about me, and then I'll show you what I can do.
mhm,
And so, to your point of what you just said, Gen Z, I
mhm,
feel, gets a bad rap because everyone's like, well, they don't want to work. That's not true.
mhm,
They want
mhm,
to be able to be and feel human
mhm,
and build their life as a
mhm.
young person. And then, oh, by the way, make some money so that they
Mhm.
can have a sustainable, affordable wage.
Life, right, rage. And
And
think about what you were just talking about earlier. Okay, we were talking about the women and how they're leaving the corporate workspace in drones. They're gone because it gets too much. After a while, it's not that women do not want to work. After a while, it's just taxing, right? You're like, I can't do this anymore. So when you think about women, if we had a different mindset, we were conditioned to be suppressed. We were conditioned to think less than. We were conditioned to feel that I can't speak my voice, I can't be seen, and I cannot be heard. So, can you imagine if the workplace accommodated women, women who are having children with daycare, created the lifestyle, created a functioning lifestyle for women to be able, whether to take care of their children, take care of their families, and be able to work? Women want their own life. They want to make their own money because most of us, we have been told that our existence is only valid or attached to our identity. That's not true. Yes, I am a mother. Yes, I am a wife. Yes, I'm an entrepreneur. But you best believe this. When I was born, when God created me, God had a purpose for my life before I met my husband, before I met my children. You understand what I mean? So then what happens is as we start to grow up, we get married and we have children, the world has convinced us that our identity of who we're created has to go to the back burner. So we spend our life just doing and doing and doing and doing for people. So what we do at home, and this is what I talk to my clients all the time, how we show up in the house is how we're showing up at work in all aspects of work. And all women are asking for is allow me to have a lifestyle where I can be the best version of myself, nurture my family, do right by my family, but also allow me to become my best version.
yes. And I think that we gave over pandemic, we all experienced in different ways
Mhm,
this tragic
mhm,
upheaval in some way,
mhm, mhm,
where again, women received disproportionate impact because kids were home, they still had to work, etc. But there were many women throughout the pandemic, humans,
mhm,
humans over the pandemic were given the freedom to design a life that worked for them
mhm,
because there was no commute, everybody was home, everybody just got it. They were like, listen, and I was still in corporate at the time, so it was like,
mhm.
do the best you can, show up as you are, we'll make it work. Well,
Yeah.
and then as things started to open back up, it was almost like, not almost, everybody just wanted to go back to the way it was before. So it was like, forget all those things that you did to make your life work for you. Come on back to the
Mhm,
office.
mhm,
And it was
mhm,
like that went away.
mhm. And we're still living the pandemic.
I know, you're right. People
Yeah,
act like
yeah.
it's over. It's not
No,
over.
no, 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 no. It's not over. It cannot be over because what it did, it shifted. It shifted how us human beings function. So
Mhm.
it's not going to be over. This is something that we're still adjusting. We're still trying to figure out. And it's interesting that you bring up the pandemic. When that happened, I say to myself, I said, a few things are going to happen here. First, I said, God, who I subscribe to, whoever you guys subscribe to, who's listening to the higher power, I said they have a sense of humor. Because what happened, what the pandemic did was it made all of us be the same. The people that would leave their houses driving BMWs, have all these executive suites and all this stuff, we were all at home. We didn't know what was going on. We were all on the same playing field, from the CEO to the janitor. We didn't know Jack,
It
you know,
was like,
but
well,
what we do not speak about enough, what we do not speak about enough is the effect that women had during the pandemic. Women suffered. Women suffered immensely and intensely because as women were already nurturers. So we were already stuck at home, the pandemic. We were concerned about our children. We are concerned about our spouses, how everybody's feeling, their emotional level. So already when people leave the house, we spend the day trying to fulfill everyone else's needs. So now we were all in the same space. But women had it so hard. They say that the percentage of depression that women went through during the pandemic is just astronomical because everybody was in the house, like you said, and they're worried about everyone. So they took the responsibility of worrying about the kid and the school or the spouse not going to work or how the spouse is feeling. And on the flip side, some people were like, oh, I get to sit down. Finally, they needed to sit down. And guess what happened? That's why I tell my audience, you have to learn to be still.
yes, it's
Because
still,
in stillness is when truth happens.
yes,
In
that's where the magic is.
stillness, that's where the magic happens. In
Yeah.
stillness is when you discover who you are. It's when you hear that voice, that loud whisper, that voice inside of you telling you, remember when you were a little girl, you used to love candles. Maybe now that you're home during COVID, maybe you need to start creating candles and selling them. Those things happened.
We were
They,
forced to go off autopilot whether we liked it or not.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's such an and. So amazing. Isabel, tell me, what are the
yeah.
moves that you're excited to be making right now? What's coming up for you?
Oh my goodness. What's coming up for me right now? I'm having my third annual Loud Whisper Women's Conference, which my dear friend Amy is going to be a part of.
Yes.
I am honestly excited about this year. Every year I have a theme. My conference is actually, I named it the Healing Space. And I mean that if I could be honest on your show, now I'm really carrying it with my shoulders up, back, and my head high. Because when I first started doing this, being an entrepreneur for 2 decades, everybody around was like, you and this woo woo, you're all woo woo, you're all woo woo, right? Because of the spiritual trying to get people to connect to themselves, to be authentic, to know who they are. They're like, nobody's interested in that. We want to know the end result of the product. We want to know the bottom line, but now life is changing. But now I'm really in a space where I am so excited about the conference. In fact, it's October 12th and 13th. It'll be at the Abington. It's the healing space. This year, the theme is the soul whispers, listen. We're going to tap into our souls, discover who we were created to be. A lot of us have a lot of things to excavate, right? And we're going to do that till the day we die. But let me tell you what, we are inundated with information, but we're also suppressed with things that do not serve us. So we have to start excavating, connecting to who we are. The mind is a powerful thing. The mind is a tool. The thing about it, though, the mind can never comprehend what the heart knows. So we need to learn to tap into our heart and soul because that's where most of our important decisions are made. And if I can be honest, that's where our subconscious mind
I can't wait for the conference in October.
is.
We're going to spend
I,
2 days. I'll be there. So check it
yeah,
out, everybody. We'll put it in the show
I'm
notes.
so excited. Some women may be listening and be like, okay, because I know there are a lot of conferences out there that teach you women how to make money, and I love it. They teach you how to do everything else, and I love it. But I also want to tell you this. I don't care how much money you make until when you heal within, until when you operate from within, until when you know who you are, until when you understand the power that you have within you. All you're going to do is continue being good at performing and doing your skill, but you will never discover how powerful you are until you tap in within to know that person within yourself. So
Yeah.
come join us, please.
Yes, please do. I love that you said it's woo. Again, going back to there is this big shift. I know y'all feel it. anyone out there that's avoiding it, it's just going to get
Hmm.
louder. But there is this shift happening where, again, women specifically are being asked to create the balance we've never seen in this lifetime. We're just going to feel into the weekend. And it's,
Hmm.
again, going back to your unique self before anyone
Yes.
told you who or what you needed to be. So
Hmm. Hmm.
amazing. I read a post that really resonated with me, and I want to hear what you say about this because in my coaching, I'm typically not this direct. Um,
Okay.
and so I want to hear your thoughts. So you wrote, you cannot transform your life until you have the courage to face what you've been avoiding.
Yeah.
Change begins with confronting the truth. What we
Hmm.
refuse to confront will continue to control us. So
Hmm.
I love this because you have such direct language. And typically I would say I'm as a healer, I'm like, hey, here's what I feel about it. It's like,
Yeah.
I can't make anyone
Hmm.
do anything or
That's correct.
I'm not, as a coach, I don't
That's
teach
correct.
anything. We're not
Mm-mm.
here to give advice. We're not here to teach.
Nope.
We're here to guide you back to yourself. And
Hmm.
that does not include me telling you what to do. So I think
Hmm.
that's the same vein that you're talking about here. I
Hmm.
just read it. I was
Hmm.
like, woo, Isabel. Woo. So tell me more about this.
That's
And
so
yeah,
interesting that you say that, right? And I am just like you. So I am such a nurturer. And even with my business being called Loud Whisper, like that's
yeah,
just
yeah,
that's what I do. I love that you did explain that. They do have different facets of coaches. I'm a coach. The way you express yourself, you and I talk about it all the time. I tell my clients, I'm a coach that you're not going to have a lot of worksheets to go home because when you get home, your brain is going to kick in and then you're going to be thinking, I wonder what she would want me to say. No, I am that coach like Amy, where it's the present moment. It's the present moment for you to come to your own awakening. I can't change anybody. I cannot tell you what to do. All I can do is create the space for you to be able to tap into yourself. And I can do that through just different questions and just trying to get you there. But at the end of the day, I will never tell you what to do because then now I'm not coaching you, right?
be a
Now I'm mentoring you.
mentor or
This
a
is
therapist.
mentor, and which there's nothing wrong with being mentor.
No,
So when I put that on there, I do that with my posts sometimes, right? Because
I was like, woo, she's coming out hot today.
yeah, yeah, coming out hot because there are some things that I have to come out hot. That's just the honest to God truth. No one is
Yeah,
coming to save us.
right.
No one. And here is my truth. The reason why I posted that is because for the longest, I was ashamed of my own life because of my life experiences. I've been through so much life experiences that I understand pain, and a lot of people probably have been through that. I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. I always ask myself, like, God, is it a good thing that I understand pain? But now that I'm getting older and wiser, I see why it was given to me. I'm learning how to use it, right? So the reason why I say that is no one is coming to save us. For the longest, I was ashamed of who I was, and I ran away from my problem. And you know how I did that? Work, 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 work. That's all I did. But what I didn't realize was I was running away from my truth. I had to look at myself in the mirror and say, oh, my work is controlling me. Okay. Me not being truthful with myself, this is controlling me because you know what? I'm addicted to producing. I'm addicted to working 50 hours. I'm addicted to performing for everyone else on the outside to say, wow, you're doing an amazing job. You're doing this, you're doing this. So I didn't have to deal with my own crap. But what I realized was my crap was controlling me. I could sit in my office as an entrepreneur, look at somebody taking drugs and say, oh, wow, oh my God, they're addicted to drugs. What? They're an alcoholic. What? They're addicted to food. Guess what? I was an addict too. I was addicted to performing. I was addicted to work. See, we think because people who are taking drugs or who are alcoholics are different from us who are constantly performing. No, an addiction is an addiction. So what I realized was that addiction was controlling me, and the fact that I was running away from learning my truth, that was controlling me. And that's why I put that on.
Yes.
I'm like, whatever you don't face is going to control you, and that's a fact.
Yeah, I don't love the phrase fake it till you make it. I say
Mm-mm.
face it till you make
Face
it.
it. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I numbed in various ways for 40
Yeah.
years. And I've been out of that for almost 2 years. And
Hmm.
because I was earning money and getting
Yeah.
awards and I was quote unquote
Hmm.
successful and amazing,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was a shell of myself. So it's the only you
Hmm.
know
Hmm.
when that threshold of your unique brilliance has hit a fever pitch of being suppressed. And coaches like Isabel and I are here to explore with you
Hmm.
where you want to take that in a place where you don't have to do anything in the 3D world yet. You just start to
Yeah.
explore it a little bit and say,
Yeah.
who's
Yeah.
calling me? Like I always say, like, who's ringing my doorbell? Like, who is that? What's going
Mm.
on? What do I need to know right now? Because again,
Yeah.
even 3, 4 years ago, I would have told you I was at my A game, my top game. And
That's
I was like, whoa, I'm playing small,
hmm.
not
Hmm.
disrespecting myself, but it was just like I
Yeah.
was like in this one dimensional place. So
Yeah. And I like that you said that really quick, if I could say that.
yeah,
That's
please.
the truth. Only you. So
Hmm.
here is the thing. Only you. And a lot of us women, because we don't have self-worth, and not because we're bad or anything, that's just how we've been conditioned from the time we're young girls. We don't even make decisions for ourselves. It takes us longer to make decisions, right? It's just being like what you say, what you and I do to get you to a place where you can start trusting yourself. This is what I say. Come home to yourself. Yeah. Come home because we sit and say, well, I can't make a decision for myself. Yes, you are. You just have to excavate the things that you feel like you need, the things that are not serving you. You need to tap in. Then when you get there, you have the freedom to make those decisions for yourself. You just got to come home to yourself. We are the only ones who could do it. The good thing about it is we can collectively heal.
Yeah, this is where the mass shift or awakening is happening right now. And that's
Hmm.
why we're seeing so much, whatever triggers you in the 3D, you're likely
Hmm.
feeling that ramp up right now
Hmm.
because that is the awakener. That is the ultimate, like, what do you want to do? We can keep going the way we've been going, or we can choose a different path and explore a little bit. And
Hmm.
I love what you said, like when someone, when lovingly, the women I serve, when someone says I can't, I'll say, is that true? Where do you
Yes,
feel that in your body and who's saying that? Is that your
yes,
voice? We just start to
right.
dig, right? So,
Yeah, yeah.
Isabel, oh my gosh, as we start to wind down, wow, what would you say to women that are like really vibing with what we're
Hmm.
saying and are like, wow,
Hmm.
I need to get a hold of Amy or Isabel and let's have a conversation? Because a lot of women are like, I don't know what this call is or why I'm feeling this way. Cool.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
go there, right? We'll figure it out.
yeah,
And
yeah.
not being attached to that outcome, of course. But what would you say
Hmm.
to the women who are really vibing, but also
Hmm.
the women that are, like we talked about earlier, were conditioned and have only been, let's say, quote unquote, a performer their entire
Hmm.
lives, and
Hmm.
they don't feel great, but
Yeah,
they don't possibly or can't possibly see what we're
yeah.
talking about because they've got
You
it's been
just described my client.
I know, right? That's Isabel's niche, everyone.
Because here, most of my clients will tell you, no, I don't have a, no, no, I'm good. I'm good. I don't have a
Good,
problem
everything's
with that.
fine.
Everything
Everything's
is
fine.
fine. I'm like, okay, great. Give me 3 minutes.
Right? And like, yeah, to your point, it's like not making them realize, oh, things aren't fine. It's like
Yeah,
recently there was a woman I met for the first time, and I asked her, what do you enjoy about life? It
yeah.
took me another, I asked it 6 more times because she kept going to
Hmm.
things she does. I'm like, no,
Hmm.
what makes you feel
Hmm.
joy? Like, how
Hmm.
do you feel?
Hmm.
It took about 15 minutes. And then it got to the point where she was showing me her art on her phone that she was creating. I was like, this,
Yeah, yeah.
it takes
You
that
know
long.
why? Yes, because we deny ourselves, we deny our own existence.
Mm.
We deny our own existence as women. Going back to what you said, I did a talk last year, room full of business women, full of business women. Okay. And I asked one simple question because people are doing business. They don't like simple questions. They think, what are you doing? I said, could you answer the question, who am I? Look at the person next to you, tell them they're asking you the question, answer the question, who am I? Everybody started talking about what they were doing. I said, no, let's start this all over again. answer the question, who am I? There was one lady in there who was running for office in the little town. She came back to me after the talk. She said, I would have never thought in a million years that I did not know who I was. And she's powerful in that area. So this is what I will say. For those of you who are feeling this, keep trusting yourself, keep honoring yourself, keep listening to that voice. You will have days where you feel like it doesn't make sense, and that's okay. Just keep moving or rest. Rest is just as good. You will have days where you feel like, yeah, I'm feeling my best, and continue to feel your best. For those of you who are like, yes, I'm an achiever, and that sounds great, but what you guys are talking about is really not making sense, but I can kind of feel what you're talking about because that's me. I'm not happy because most of my clients, just how they do projects at work, everybody in their relationship is a project. So they're always, most of the time, they're not happy. Here's what I have for you. Honor yourself and give yourself 5 minutes. That's all I'm going to give you to sit still. Find a day, sit still, and just listen. Just listen. Your mind is going to run. Try to ignore it. Because here is the thing. Yes, you're good at what you do, and that's amazing. We want to be good at what we do. But what you do is not your identity. What you do is not who you are. The thing about what you do, you're going to get a point in your life where you will not be able to do what you do. I call it, you will have the and then what situation. So instead of waiting until you get to the point where you cannot continue to do what you do that gives you an identity, maybe it's time you start listening to the whispers of your soul. Maybe it's time for you to find time for stillness, to just discover, who am I? That's it. Just ask yourself, who am I? What are my desires? What do I love besides your work? And if you cannot answer that question, that's okay. Just keep asking it until one day, something will be revealed inside of you. But I want you to know this. Your work is not who you are. You are so powerful within you. You are actually more powerful than what you do. So if you took the time to really tap into yourself, tap into the person you're running away from, listen, you think you're doing amazing things right now? Trust me.
You deserve to feel the full life force and vitality of
Yes,
your entire being,
of
mind,
your
body, and spirit.
entire being.
Entire being. Yes,
Entire
entire.
being.
Isabel, closing remarks as we wrap up.
Mm. My closing remarks are this. I say this on my podcast. I say it on every interview. This is to every human being, everybody listening to Amy's show. Just a few words for you. I want you to carry this with you. I want you to hold on to this when you have challenges. I want you to really start to understand this, that you are not broken and you are enough. Despite your circumstances, despite what you're going through, despite what you're feeling, despite how you're being treated, I promise you, you are enough just as you are. So please honor yourself. And you're here for a reason. You may not know it today, but you are here on this earth for a reason.
Thank you, Isabel.
Thank you.